Warm welcome to our flow talk. We talk about leadership in the flow. That means leadership in a connection of mind and heart. Today with Amit Sidhpura. Hello. So
Hey
good to have
Hans,
you.
thank you for inviting me on.
It's really my pleasure. You're a global IBMer and you are also a member at the advisory board for the HBR, the Harvard Business Review. But maybe you want to tell us a bit more about your business background?
Yeah, sure. So for the last 15 plus years, my background has been all been around my passion, which is all about helping people learn how to transform and grow. So I've been so blessed in that way.
Hmm.
So I've worked in a number of leadership positions in a number of various different countries, from London to the US to Singapore, and now based in Zurich, Switzerland. So at the moment, I'm a global strategy leader for IBM within their talent and HR transformation business. So it's all about helping design the future of work. And then there's a number of other initiatives that I'm involved in outside of work, again, very passionate driven. One is a movement I started a few years ago, which is called City Monk. And City Monk is all about helping leaders and entrepreneurs connect and experience that inner superpower. Like every single one of us has a very unique trait or superpower, but because of the way, the communities or the institutions that we've gone through and grown up, this has never really received any form of credit. So we've
Yes.
never really experienced that. So that's almost a missing piece. That's one, as well as you mentioned. So there's a number of advisory boards that I sit on, from a well-being advisory board, again, helping organizations, focus more and more on well-being and the importance of well-being at work, as well as you mentioned, the Harvard Business Review. So focusing on content, making it more timely in terms of what's happening in the world and how do we reflect that within the content produced by an organization which is over 102 years old. So great tradition, but how do we reinvent it again? So yeah.
Wow. It seems that you're fully on your life path, so you live your purpose.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's very, very exciting.
Yeah, you seem so. So I guess in your work you also have a lot of points with leaders and with managers.
Yeah.
And in your experience with those, what do they face now in these times? What are challenges they face now in that times?
I think challenges is the one. That's the biggest thing, right? So they've always faced challenges. In order
Yeah.
to get to where they are today, they've overcome these challenges, right? But the level of disruption that's happening in the world right now is something that they've never experienced before. You've
Mhm.
got disruption at almost every single layer, going back to a very micro layer, from managing people to managing any form of organization. Everything that's worked in the past is almost just out the window, right? And this is the really interesting bit. We've come to a crossroad now where we're entering a new operating model. It's been happening for some time, depending on
Mhm.
how conscious you are towards that. The world's been changing. So as that operating model starts to change, the way we do business needs to start to change. The way we work needs to start to change. The way we buy needs to start to change. It's at every single layer. It's all about how do you start to become more conscious and how do you deal with that disruption? And I guess a lot of organizations are looking at different styles, different techniques, and this is where there's a very, very big gap at the moment. So most leaders that you get to have intimate conversations with, they will be honest and telling you that there is this challenge, and they're
Mhm.
very open to partnering with people on how do I overcome these challenges.
This is interesting that you mentioned that. So your perception is that they are open for change,
Yeah,
that they are searching actively.
they're searching for change. Yeah.
This is amazing. And today it's about mind and heart and the connection. So what do you think, or what do you observe out there? Which leaders are more successful with dealing with that challenges? Is it
I
the more
guess
mind driven or the
no,
heart
it's
driven?
that exactly. It's that more holistic approach, right? That's what you're seeing. So when you're driven from the mind, you're only looking at one perspective.
Mhm.
And if you want to look at, as we work within HR, one of the things we talk about is bringing employees should bring their whole selves to work. And if you bring your whole self to work, then obviously you need to have a leader that's able to manage that whole self that you bring to work. So they need to have more of a holistic leadership approach. And this is what you're seeing. So leaders which are more empathetic,
Mhm.
deal with things in a very emotional, compassionate way, which again, you're only going to have if you're connected to the heart. You're able to fake it, I guess, up until a certain extent from the mind. So you can understand a process or analogy or a model. You can replicate that to some way or some form. But day in, day out, this is something that needs to be ingrained within you. And if you don't have that connection with your heart, you're not doing or not leading with that initiative in the right way, or the energy is not going to be perceived in the right way. So this is again a very, very interesting discussion and kind of approach.
Mm. It's amazing that you, I guess you're talking now about the IBM's approach with this holistic
I
style.
guess not just IBM, all leaders. That's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
when I look at that. So not just that organization, it's organizations of that size, organizations in general. Um, this is what you're looking at. It's almost basically turning around and saying any organization that you're a leader in, how are you developing your leadership skills for the future? A future where this disruption, this operating model is evolving, it's changing, the way people work is changing. So having a traditional backdated approach is no longer going to work.
Mm.
So this is kind of a new era. As we walk through this new era, what is the guidelines and what does the structure look like? What do the people look like?
Mm. And in your daily job, do you meet a lot of managers or leaders that already live that approach or are on this path to experience this mind core connection?
Mixed. So
Mixed.
within corporate organizations, it's perceived as I don't have time for that. I'm too busy right now. And this is the interesting piece. So people know that well, they can
But
feel that
I
something is
don't have
changing.
time to become more conscious. Or what is that?
No, it's not even conscious. If you use that word, I guess that's what you will see from most people is that they're so busy with what they're doing because
Mm-hmm.
they're under a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So basically delivering day-to-day results and reinventing yourself at the same time is something that we know or something that I feel needs to be done as one aspect.
Beautiful.
But most people are separating that. And
Mm.
that becomes a difficult aspect because it's almost like, well, I'm doing this, and this is almost like um, it's an extra piece or it's something that I don't need to focus on right now.
Mm.
Um,
First, I do my day job, and if there
and
is
then when I get time, yeah, then
some
I will
time left.
focus on, yeah, not knowing that if they encompass and integrate that piece into the work they're doing, it will make their work easier. So
Mm-hmm.
some people that have experienced that, then that becomes their reality. As it becomes their reality, they're able to develop themselves in a very, very different way.
Mm.
But that's the kind of the balance at the moment. So you're seeing pockets of people open. Most of the conversations I have, when you have conversations with entrepreneurs, they're the ones that understand that. And I think the beauty is when you're an entrepreneur, you're creating something for the future. So if you're not connected to yourself or thinking in the future, you're not able to come up with or invent something that's going to be future proof or needed for the future. So this is beautiful. You're seeing some organizations slowly move into that. But sometimes it might have been, if I give an example, it's people that have either had some form of personal setback or something's happened in their life, and that's given them that shift that I can't keep working the way I am. This is not working.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so very, very mixed background or perspective of people.
And how do you do it within IMBM? Like, how do you motivate people or guide leaders to go more in that direction of holistic leadership? Is there something special, or is there some motivational thing you are doing?
No, it's more giving them the experience of connecting to themselves, right? So this
Mm-hmm.
is the one piece. So I'm fortunate enough that I'm also a core member of the IBM mindfulness community. So I run regular meditation sessions on Wednesdays for global IBMers. And by attending these sessions, what they're seeing is again, meditation's great. But the way that I've learned meditation, the way that I share this experience with others is it's not a way for us to run away from things. Human behavior is normal that when something becomes difficult, we'd like to have a void for that.
Yes.
But what you're seeing is meditation is not that void. It's the ability to say, okay, something's happening. I need to jump over this barrier or this hurdle. Now you need to understand yourself better and prepare for how do I jump over this hurdle. And this is the beauty of meditation. So people that are open to that experience of how do I connect to myself to understand what are the aspects I need, and then from that develop myself in a very different way, not just being from the mind, this person's doing this, so I need to do this, but more from every single one of us is very, very unique. We have a very, very different trait and quality that we bring to the table. How are you best harnessing that quality that you have and then using that quality to move forward? And it gives you the solution. Every challenge that we've seen has a solution. Now, every single unique challenge that you're facing has a solution, and you've got everything you need to have that solution or be able to overcome that challenge. So sharing that with people and not moving away from just an inspirational message or sharing information with them that they can find on the internet, but really going into that experience moment. And we do something that really helps us connect to that, our heart, or connect to that inner power that we have during this time.
Such a beautiful approach. Thank you for sharing. Now let's come to you. How's about you and in your everyday life? Is it easy for you to always be connected, mind and heart? To be in that flow, we call it state of flow when you have this connectedness, everything is flowing and you feel like fully focused, joyful.
I guess the more I've seen that, right? So this has been something that I've been doing or a journey that I've been experiencing for a number of years now. What I've seen is it becomes an aspect of your life. So at the beginning, you need to consciously remind yourself. It's very easy to have a conversation, get caught up in the drama. And when you get caught up in the drama, you're either blaming that person or the situation. None of that is really going to help you. But having that conversation, following it practically, but at the same time, when you feel some kind of disturbance internally, to then spend time with yourself to investigate or look further into that disturbance, accepting it and then moving forward and using that as a kind of a bounce to then increase your level of impact and increase your level of consciousness around things. And that works really, really well. And the more you keep doing that, it's almost like, when you do meditation, you tell people, watch your breath. Now, some people, when they watch their breath, they just fight everything, the thoughts, emotions, pictures. Don't fight it, just let it come. Now, the minute you feel your thought has been deviated to an emotion or a graphic or something like that, you just bring it back to your breath again. That's the same thing that I keep reminding myself, that there will be setbacks as part of life because it helps me grow. There will be challenges that are really going to get me outside of my comfort zone. But whenever that happens, I just need to remind myself again, hey, like this is what I need to do. And then just keep following that. And when you're able to, it's also almost like a toolkit, becomes a way of life. When you start to follow that or start to learn from that, or you start to see patterns behind it, then it becomes really, really beautiful. And it's not just work, it's everything, right? So even when I do self-empowerment sessions and I share this information with others, it's basically saying that it doesn't matter where you are, because we're like, I'm at work, I'm at home. There's no such difference. In our mind, we love to half that down.
Yes.
But in every single reality, it's not the same. So something that you struggle with at work is going to be the exact same pattern at home. That's it. Even if you don't want to go into consciousness and this and that, and you think it's a fluffy message, that's fine. Stick to patterns. Leaders love patterns. Every single day, we're looking at data sets and we're looking at what is the opportunity here, what is the challenge here, and we're trying to solve it, either through a data set, through information that we're getting from our team. Now, just look at patterns. Now, I love looking at my daily patterns. This is my setback. Okay. Can I see patterns anywhere else? Okay, that's my pattern. That's my fingerprint. Okay, how do I then start to evolve and change that around to be more positive?
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing. So you will also visit our leadership event on the 29th and 30th of September in the Opera House of Graz, Flow Forward event. What are you looking forward the most to this?
The thing is what I'm looking forward to the most is that, as we mentioned, that operating model, as we talked about the balance between the heart and the mind. In some occupations, you can say, okay, it's easier than others. Okay, in the business world, how do we do that? We need to be very practical with our approach, yet we need to understand that there is another perspective. How do we bring that other perspective into work so it's not seen as an additional burden, but it's something seamless that just goes into the flow of work? And that's almost the thing I'm looking for. And then engaging and having the opportunities to be around people that are like-minded in that way.
Yes.
Not an environment that you're ashamed to be in because you're doing stuff which is fluffy, or you're trying to bring in a concept that shouldn't be there in the world of work. Everyone knows that the way this disruption is happening, things need to change. So coming up with a technique or a formula or even an experience of, well, how should that change, and how do we make that concept or theory turn into a reality? That's kind of the really exciting piece, or the aspect that I'm really looking forward to.
Wow. We're happy that you will be part of. Thanks for coming. We started with challenging, so I also want to close with them. What would be a recommendation, or what would you like to pass to leaders that currently face challenges in their leadership life?
So I guess, look, when you're that senior, it's difficult. It's quite a little bit of a struggle in terms of how many people you can approach and be very open with what type of help you would need. And what I would share with leaders is just be open. There is help here. There's a lot of people here that would like to change the way we work. But I guess there's a lot of fear around how that can be done. But there needs to be more of an openness, more communication around how we do that. How we change things, how we collaborate. Those would be those two key pieces. Openness for change, and then collaboration. How do we look or look towards help and find help?
So going forward together.
Exactly.
Hand in hand.
Yeah.
That's a nice word to end. Thank you so much for being with me, and see you then in a few weeks in Graz.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hans. See you later.